Hello, everyone. Welcome back to yet another political episode. So we got to talk about Katie True today, who ended up passing away at the age of 84. And Katie True is a state legislator, and normally I don't talk about state legislatures. But Katie True is a special person because she ended up running in an at-large race in 2000 against yours favorite corrupt politician of all time, Bob Casey Jr. That's right. She got beat pretty badly by Bob Casey Jr. And obviously, we can tell, being with the huge name recognition, Bob Casey Jr. is, of course, the beloved son, quote unquote, of his father, the governor of Pennsylvania, Bob Casey Sr., and who was really a conservative activist, who was known for being on the anti-abortion wing of the Democratic Party. He is, of course, in the name of the famous case, Planned Parenthood v. Casey, which it almost got overturned, Roe v. Wade, but ultimately was thwarted. He was also a champion of gun rights. So this guy was what you could call a Democrat in name only. We talk about rhinos in this channel, but dinos exist, obviously, but they're not so prevalent anymore. Bob Casey Sr. was one of them. Looking at specifically Bob Casey Jr., he tried to follow in his father's footsteps. He was, from the beginning of his political career, anti-abortion, entirely during his term as auditor. But in the 2006 election, he ran on an anti-abortion platform. It worked, but when he got into the Senate, he flipped, okay? He changed. The deep state got to him and made him, or the deep state of the Democratic Party got to him and made him pro-abortion or something like that. He was more conservative during this time than he was previously. You gotta find debates of this guy for sure. But Katie True, this video is about her, and she obviously no one really knows who she is. I can guarantee you not many people are talking about her in Pennsylvania, maybe in the 41st district where she resides in. She resides in Lancaster. Of course, looking at the general results, she trounces the results in Lancaster County right here. But everywhere else, we'll study those results. But first, I'm going to check real quickly if there is a primary, because if there is, we want to review it. Okay, I don't think there is a primary. All right, so we'll just jump into the general election. So obviously, Bob Casey Jr. wins, and Casey mainly saw his advantages in the blue area. You could call this the research triangle of Pennsylvania, but this is not really a research triangle. This area is known for the minor unions. Okay, the miners over here, because of course you have West Virginia being a very critical, important mining state, and areas everywhere else are important mining states also. Pennsylvania too, mainly in the west. But these areas, very unionized counties right here. Western Pennsylvania, very unionized. They followed Bob Casey Jr., especially because his father, Bob Casey Sr., was a champion of the unions. Also, he was a big union guy also, which probably was the sole reason why he was a Democrat at the time. Probably, if he was alive now, he'd probably be a Republican, to be honest with you. Looking at this party, it's just disgraceful. Or you'd be an independent. But you also have the areas in Philadelphia. You'll see 80% in Philadelphia. Bucks County, Montgomery County, more conservative than it is today. You have these areas, more of the rural areas are expanding, mostly because of the unions. I am not sure if it's minor unions, but these are mining for sure. Minor unions over here. These areas are just unionized counties. These areas too unionized. This is Lackawanna County. That's where Scranton is. Scranton Joe, 70% for Bob Casey. You got also Laverne County, 60% for Bob Casey. What about the areas where Katie True did good in? And you'll see she does good specifically in two counties specifically. We can actually pull up the 2002 results to get actual numbers. Yeah, you'll see 68%. True almost won 70% of her own county. Now, let's compare this to the results in 1996. Yep, this is Bob Casey. He's been in here for I don't know. He's been in here for it's kind of confusing. But yeah, Bob Casey's been in office since blanking out. The time when it first began, but you'll see specifically, I don't remember seeing a map like this, or am I thinking about the treasurer race? Well, no, this is actually the map here. Yeah, you see, Lackawanna was a bit more competitive over here. Than it is in 2000. You'll see. Regardless, Casey still saw his gains up in this area. Okay? But yeah, last time I remembered, we didn't have the 1996 map. So I'm surprised. I'm kind of left speechless that we got a map finally. Because, yeah, this was the performance here. We're specifically looking at Lackawanna. Lackawanna surged for, you'll see the areas around, like this area. Not really, because this county was a hold for the Republicans. That is Chester County. Pretty liberal today, mainly influenced by the Philadelphia suburbs, but it was somewhat competitive, a battleground back then. Casey never won it in his political career, believe it or not. But specifically in this result, you do have Lackawanna, Lancaster County, 60% going in for Katie True. You'll see the University of Pennsylvania, in Center County, Republican, barely. It was close, and perhaps you could say that the unions around Center County, near the edges, are what's making it close. Perhaps some college students, but at the end of the day, I'm seeing a pattern that a lot of these college counties are more liberal today. We're voting for True. Does this mean anything? Not really. In fact, they're not really many. I mean, Dauphin County, which holds Harrisburg, which is a big college community, is pretty much Democratic for Bob Casey. 51-45. It was somewhat competitive. Yeah, it was super close between True and Casey. And you do have the Green Party candidate, that's Ann E.R. Gorky, or something like that. She got a respectable 1.34% of the popular vote. So this, of course, was a pretty good, decisive result here. But anyway, this isn't really just all we got when it comes to talking about Katie True. This is the only race she ran in, and it says right here, both were candidates and were unopposed. Both candidates were unopposed in their primaries. So really, if we were to review the primaries, there's nothing really to review because True won unopposed, meaning she carried every county by 100%. Now, how much was the turnout? Really, does it really matter? Well, it does, because if you have a lot of people voting for you unopposed, then that shows that you have a lot of momentum in your general election campaign, and that's generally a very, very good thing. So it kind of does matter. But what do you guys think in regards to this video? Let me know down below, and as always, I'll see you all in the next political episode.